So we want to show you, we've been talking a lot about the legislative changes and how they affect jury trials or the presentation of bills. And so I want to show you to illustrate in a first of a two-part series. The second part's going to be more on the closing argument side. But this is something we present in closing argument. This is a board that we actually used in a real trial where our client was injured in an accident on August 18, 2015. And we protected the client's name. We call it accident-related medical bills. Okay, and these were this was the evidence. The first part of my client's claim is the past medical bills that they can recoup that are related to the injuries that she sustained in an auto accident. This is what we presented. This is what the judge let us present to the jury. So we had 6 jurors on the other side, you can imagine, that are looking at this and trying to make a decision as to what bills are related to the accident. Well, this is our side of the case, and we have the burden of proof, the greater weight of the evidence, which you'll find out in the next segment. So we list providers, dates of service, a description of the services to kind of, help the jury out, because remember, this is after 3 or 4 days of trial. They've already heard all of this, hopefully, okay? And here's the amount of the bills. Now, here's how it's changed. In this case, in 2015, we were allowed to present the total bills of $181,798.45. Now, what we're not seeing on this chart is adjustments, insurance payments. I represent to you that some of these bills were paid by insurance. Some of these bills were adjusted off. Some of these bills have an outstanding balance, but this representation is the gross bill, the bill before insurance, before adjustments, before payments. Why am I presenting that? Is it a subterfuge? Am I trying to confuse people? No. It's what the court allows. After the case is over, the court will take, let's say the jury awards us the 181. The court will take that number and they will apply adjustments so that the party that's being sued is going to get the benefit of the adjustments. And the whole reason behind this bill, before this new bill got passed, was that we didn't want the word insurance to come in. We didn't want the jury to necessarily know, hey, there's insurance over here, okay? So the judge would take it and apply all the set-offs, discounts, payments, and that 181 becomes a much lower number. In this case, I think that number was like $70,000. Okay, so in other words, $111,000 were paid by that. But we show this bill so that the jury awards the full amount, and then the adjustments are done on the back end so they don't have to hear about insurance. What this new bill has done, and it hasn't, I'll admit, I haven't tried a case yet with the new bill in effect. Okay, that's going to come later on down the road because the bill was just passed. But what it's going to do, in my understanding and estimation, is it's going to show a more clear picture. But let me tell you why it's not so clear of a picture. Because what we're going to show is this, presumably the gross bill, and then we're going to show those adjustments and everything else that allowed the bill to be reduced. So, for example, the first bill at the hospital was $49,200.46. Let's say there were $25,000 worth of adjustments. The new law is going to have us show it ahead of time rather than getting it reduced on the back end. Okay, and it's going to show any, like I said, any insurance payments, any out-of-pockets from the client. It's going to show that. Now, how does it change anything? Well, what it does is, and why this is probably a good thing, honestly, to turn the tables around here, is that now we're getting a clearer picture. Okay, but the jury should now know there's insurance involved here. Okay, so the insurance companies have lobbied not to have their industry brought up in these cases, but now we're going to know. We're going to know that how did that happen? How did that happen? How is it that the bill was reduced? Well, it was reduced because there's insurance. So now let's bring it all in. So if you're sitting in a jury and you have a case like this and you're seeing these huge bills, remember, this is one part of the case, one element of the damages. There's future medical bills, there's pain and suffering. We'll get into that a little bit in the next segment, especially with the pain and suffering, because there's no standard for that. But if we're going to show all the bills that are related to an accident, let's now show the adjustments. Let's show that other figure so that way the jury knows, hey, there's insurance involved here overall. Okay, there's an insurance company that's defending this case that chose not, for whatever reason, to pay, so that we had to sit here in a 3 to 4 day jury trial. Let's make it fair for everybody. Okay, and that's probably what's going to happen, is because people are smart. Okay, when you see this, they're going to be like, they already kind of knew anyway. But now they're going to say, well, wait a minute. So there's insurance that's paying this. How come they haven't paid for all of the damages? That's a good question. That's a question we will find out in the months and years to come about how these cases will be handled moving forward. This is the old days. 2015, okay? And this case worked out great for us, okay? It's going to work out great for us again, though, because moving forward, we're going to have even a more clearer picture of what's going on here. It's not just going to be that, oh, there's this $81,000 and there's this poor guy sitting on the defense that doesn't have any insurance and he's being asked to pay this exorbitant amount of money. Well, no, not really. It's an insurance company. Know the whole picture and make the decision that you need to make based on the evidence of the case. Okay, and that's what we'll cover in the next segment where we talk about pain and suffering, where there's no exact standard for measuring those damages. If you ever have a question, though, give me a call and I'll be glad to